Hello, everyone. Um, I tried to make one of these yesterday, and apparently the audio worked, but the screen froze as far as the progress I was making in the spreadsheet. So we're going to try this again. So I've started with the textbook project blank workbook, and I'm going to go ahead and put the information in that I need to set up a template. And templates, basically, if you think about it, there are going to be situations in the business world where you're going to use the same type of spreadsheet over and over again. And you want to have the ability to go and open up a spreadsheet and use it as a template, but not save over it. And that's the difference with saving things as a template. You're better able to prevent yourself from making a horrible error and ruining your sheet so you can't use it again. So we're going to create a template, and that means we got to lay everything out first before we do it. So I'm going to start off by changing the row heights of row 1 and 2. So I'm going to select both of those, and then I am going to drag it down to 25. Very carefully, or get it as close as I can. And then for row 3, I'm going to change it to 45. There we go. All right, so in A1, I'm going to type in Mayor Insurance. And in A2, I'm going to type in Sales Analysis. All right. I'm going to change the theme for this workbook, so I'm going to go to Page Layout. And under Themes, I'm going to choose Parallax. Okay. And I'm also going to change the font type in this theme. So I'm going to go to the Font button, and I'm going to change this to Calibri. Okay. Now let's move over to the columns and change the width on the columns. So column A, I'm going to make 9, or as close as I can get it to 9. I'm using my mouse pad, and I've been pretty vocal about how I feel about mouse pads. It's because where I'm sitting, I don't have enough room for a mouse. So I'm just going to have to tough it out. B through G is going to be 15. And then H will be 8. All right, as close as I can get it. And then I and J will be 14. Remember, this is the one I changed the grade on, so if it's not perfect and it works it wrong, don't panic. All right, select A1 and A2, and I'm going to add a cell style to it, so I'm going to go back to my Home tab, and in the cell styles, I am going to choose the title style, and then I'm also going to change the font size. So let's change this to 24. I'm going to merge and center these, so I'm going to do A1 through J1 first and hit merge and center. Oops, I hit it too fast. And then A2 through J2, merge and center. I'm going to add some fill color to these, so I'm going to select both of these, and then I'm going to go to my fill color button, or my arrow, and I'm going to choose orange accent 3 lighter 60%. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit to make this a little bit easier to see as we go along. All right, now I'm going to enter in my column titles. All right, so down here in A3, I'm going to go ahead and select A3 through J3 and do some of the formatting so that I don't have to go back and do it later. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click my wrap text button so that anything I type in here will automatically wrap. I'm going to go ahead and hit my center button here. And then I'm also going to go ahead and do heading style 3. And then that way all I have to do is type in the labels and I don't have to worry about anything else. So in A3, I'm going to type in branch. And I'm going to use my tab key to move across. Then we're going to have category 2020 in-office premiums in dollars. And you can use the dollar sign. And then we're going to have 2021 in office premiums dollars. 2020 online premiums in dollars. 2021 online premiums in dollars. In G3, we're going to put in percentage increase or decrease. Oops, and I misspelled decrease, so let me fix that real quick. All right. H, I'm going to leave blank, so I'm going to move over to I. I is going to be summary of categories. And then we're going to have 2021 totals. All right. So our category titles are in. Now we can enter some sample data so that we can check to make sure our formulas are working correctly as we set those up. So very simple sample data. In B4, I'm going to type in A, and then I'm going to go across and go 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the premiums. And that gives me something to work with to kind of visually double check to make sure that my formulas are correct. All right. Another thing I'm going to do, let's see. We're going to do C4 through F4. And we're going to go ahead and do the comma cell style with no decimal places. And that way I don't have to go back and format it when I pull it down. Now we're ready to put in formulas. So over in G4, what I need to do here is I need to calculate the percentage increase or decrease from the 2020 numbers to the 2021 numbers. All right, so to do that, I have to add the 2020 numbers together. And I also have to add the 2021 numbers together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 2021 numbers and divide them by the 2020 numbers. And in order to keep it from more than 100% visually on the screen, I'm going to subtract the number 1 from it so that when I convert it to a percentage, it'll actually be below 100%. All right, so the formula is going to be equals, and in the parentheses, I'm going to add D4 plus F4. And those are my 2021 numbers. And then I'm going to divide those, and again using parentheses, C4 plus E4. And I'm going to close out the parenthesis. And then I'm going to subtract the number 1 from that. All right, so if you take D and F and add them together, that's, what is that? D and F is 7 divided by 4. You're going to end up with like 1.5 or something like that. And if you take the 1 off of it, oops, you got 0.75. I can't add in my head, which is okay. That's what we use Excel for. I believe that is correct. Let me make sure before I move on. It is correct. So now we're going to move over to the summary of categories. This one's starting to get into like a little bit of territory that gets confusing. This is going to be an if function, but what we need to do is we need to pull category names in. And then once we have the category names listed, and want it to be automatic in case we added a new category, we're going to use a different function in column J to add numbers together. All right, so this if function, in order for it to work, uses what they call a mixed cell reference. So part of it looks like an absolute and part of it does not when it does a range. All right, so it looks a little crazy when we set it up. So I'm going to do equals if. Within this if function, we're going to use a countif function. So I'm going to start to type countif and look for it in my sheet. So your actual logical test is going to be a countif function. All right, so I'm going to do, and this is where it looks crazy, B4, and I'm going to make that part absolute. Do B4, and I'm not going to make that part absolute. So it's going to lock in your row but not your column, that kind of thing. That's the idea. Like I said, it's a little confusing. And then once it finds or counts those things, it's going to add things up. So just set it up like this. It'll work. All right. And then I'm going to do equals 1 so that it only pulls it in one time. And then we're going to do B4 for the value if true, and if it's false, we're going to do a space. And to do a space in Excel, you have to do a quote, hit your space bar, and do another quote, and then close the whole thing out. So it looks a little crazy, but it works. It brings the letter A over, and it'll bring all the category names over as we go along. I'm going to slide over just a little bit so that I can put this other one in. The next one is a SUMIF function, and what we have to do is we have to add the 2021 numbers together in order to get, for each category, in order to get the total. Okay, so I'm going to use SUMIF twice in the same formula. So I'm going to do equals SUMIF, double click. SUMIF has 3 arguments. Well, yeah, 3 arguments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do B4 through B100 because I'm going to pull a lot of data in here. And I want to make sure that I have enough room. And you're probably going to have to go through and use your F4 key strategically in here to get this set up. So this should be an absolute reference for this range. All right, the criteria, it's going to be I4. So it's going to look for that category. And then once it finds that category in that range, it's going to add through D100 for that range. And I'm going to make this absolute as well. Like so. All right. Parenthesis on the end. Plus sign because we're going to add another SUMIF function to it. Do the SUMIF again. We're going to do the same range. B4, B100. All right, same criteria, I4. But the range it's going to add together this time, it's going to be F4 through F100. And make sure those are absolute. All right. And there you have 7. I'm going to kind of double check to make sure I put it all in here correctly. And I believe I have. J4, you're going to format it with a comma and no decimals. So go ahead and set that up. And then move down and change your sheet name to Mayer Insurance. And go ahead and add a sheet tab color to it. So the sheet tab color should be orange accent 3. To save it as a template, all you have to do is change the save as type file. So when you go to save it, I'm going to hit save as. Generally, when you do a template, it has a custom Office template file that it will put it in. You can navigate and put it to other places. I haven't always been successful when I've done that. Sometimes it gives me a little bit of a fit. But if you do the save as and put it in the Office templates, what you're going to do to get it to save as a template is you change the save as type. So I'm going to click that arrow. And if you look in this list, there is an Excel template, and you'll notice the file extension and it's a XL TX instead of an XLSX. So it changes the file format a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and change the name on this too, per the instructions in the book. So SCEX_7 MI sales analysis template. And that helps me realize it's a template later on. All right, I'm going to hit save, and it saves it as a template. And you can look up here at the top now and see that it has the XLTX at the top. All right, now that it's saved, I can close it, and then I can reopen it. So let's see if I can show you how to do that without losing my screen. That's been the other problem that I have had. All right, so I should be on my desktop hopefully now. I'm going to go to my file folder, the bottom of my screen, and I'm going to go to my custom Office templates, and the template is here, and I can double click it and reopen it. And there's my file. All right, now here's the thing. I have to save it again to keep from saving over the template. So I'm going to do save as again. And I'm going to pick another place to save it, which is going to be my desktop because that's my default for everything. All right, and I'm going to save it again, this time as a regular Excel file. So make sure you change it to that. And this time I'm going to take the word template out of it. And just save it on my desktop for me to use later. All right, hopefully this one works. We'll see when it renders and we'll go from there. It's kind of stressful trying to get this thing to work.